Sorry.
Yeah, I think
okay,
there's
read
a
slowly.
typo
Let's
here.
hear.
So
What
it
measure?
says where more resources allocated to voting stations that had, I think it's lower turnout of voters,
Okay.
not lower, please. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we get you. I see you.
Thank you for those important questions, and we appreciate them. A critique of the commission and our view. Our view is that we should never be defensive. Is that we are going to listen to and observe the things that are being raised and deal with them from where they are raised in the best interest of the work we do and the work that this country expects that all of us will do. We note, though, that there is critique that is fair and critique that is not fair. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. And I want to really indicate something I had. I had the opportunity this morning to hear parties that are contesting, answering journalists on television about where they are at. And they truly captured that moment well, not just for themselves, but for everyone who at this point is working hard in this election. Some of them said this is the most anxious moment for them. And they said, we want this work to conclude so that we know the outcome. That's where the commission is at. We are not looking at who's saying what and who's doing what. We are looking at, let's focus on this task. Let's get it done in a manner that will provide everyone an opportunity to deal with a complete picture. At the moment, we are trying to deal with a picture that it's half-baked. And in fact, maybe not even half-baked. It is still in the oven. And so we want to ensure it gets out of the oven. We take note of what is being said. The things we can deal with, obviously we will deal with. But criticism, it's not an issue we are going to complain about now. We will deal with. The second issue we have voices that are speaking here, but we have voices that have been speaking consistently in the stations yesterday. As results come in, those voices are seen, party agents, observers, and others. And I want to raise this and say, I understand that the first set of observers would issue their results or their observations publicly from tomorrow. I think it's also an important area that one has to appreciate and listen to. But there's also a third area that we need to say. We are still in the period that is regulated by the Electoral Code of Conduct. The election results have not been declared, and the code is clear. It holds true. It is valid until we declare the outcome of the results. And we urge every one of the all political contestants, parties and independents, and their supporters to please be reminded that this matter is just as live as the results that we have to complete. The last issue I wanted to deal with, in fact, I could deal with the other one because it's also straightforward. Projection of voter turnout. May I answer this with an analogy? If you ask a judge so-and-so, you're going to hear this matter, you've been allocated to hear this matter, or you are hearing this matter, but it's not concluded. What What do you think the outcome is going to be? What do you think the judge is going to say? They'll say, no, we don't deal with that matter in that manner. For us, the results can never be like a poll. We can never project. We've got to deal with the real thing. And so I'm asking, and I really want to ask sincerely, to say, where you have the results, you don't even need a projection because that voter turnout is there. But for us, the picture must be complete, and we must then comment on that complete picture. Party funding, someone asked the question. We have failed to take action on political parties, and I think if I understood the question correctly, that matter, that understanding was incorrect from the person asking the question. We have in fact dealt with that matter conclusively, and the political parties that were impacted are dealing with that matter as a consequence of what the courts have directed we should do. I really thank you for these sincere questions, and I want you to know that we are hard at work to conclude this work. You haven't seen us, I imagine, on this floor mostly today, but we have been engaging with these things because we do want to keep our heads focused, to conclude this work, and for us to be completely accountable and open to you on all the questions that do mean a lot to you and mean a lot to us. I thank you very much indeed.
No, Chairperson dealt with that. No, thank you very much. The training of staff, staff were trained over a period of 4 days. They had to complete a series of modules, understanding the role of the commission, understanding the registration process, the counting process, the voting process, and so on. All these are modules that they had to do. They further had to do practicals in terms of how to do the voting station layout, how to configure the ballot box, ballot compartments, and so on. Now, I did indicate that staff were recruited on the basis of an agreed recruitment and selection criteria. That criteria and selection, recruitment and selection criteria were agreed to with political parties in the National Political Liaison Committee. Of necessity, that policy had to take account of the pervasive unemployment in the country, so that those, especially young people who are unemployed, are given an opportunity to work, do something positive for their country, and so on. But of course, when you take people who are unemployed and perhaps with no previous work experience, it does impair a bit the quality of the process that you manage. Hence, our position has always been that you need, in the management echelon of voting stations, experienced staff, people who have done things and so on, and supplement those then with people that may be unemployed. So it is not an either or scenario, but it's a confluence of those two imperatives that must be brought together. The results auditors, they are appointed by the commission following a competitive procurement process, but they are independent. It's a consortium consisting of 3 independent audit firms. What does their roll entail. Looking at the original result slip from the voting station against what is captured in the system, and checking if there are discrepancies. And indeed, if there are no discrepancies, each auditor has a unique audit code which they input into the system, confirming the correctness of the result. Only once that has happened is that result relayed into the results database. And because we procure them, we pay for them.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll come back later in the evening when we update on results. I must release the leadership of the Electoral Commission. On our ground, we've got officials that make their decisions. Commissioners, CEO, you are released. Thank you very much.
Details of the voting stations and those of the presiding officer